The International Space Station cost approximately $150 billion to build. That investment represents a multi-decade effort to maintain a human presence in the vacuum of space, facilitating thousands of scientific experiments and global cooperation. Within the span of just a few years, Mark Zuckerberg committed Meta to a rival expenditure. Estimates vary, but between the rebranding and the research, the company spent as much as $88 billion on its own vision of a new frontier. The public rollout of this vision delivered a series of glitchy, low-resolution environments that struggled to perform the basic functions of a 3D social space. This comparison shows the velocity of that spending. Meta managed to exhaust more than half the budget of a global space program in less than 4 years, all to develop a digital game. How did a company with access to the world's most advanced engineering talent and effectively infinite capital produce something that felt unfinished? The sheer scale of the investment, when contrasted with the lack of active users, suggests a massive disconnect between the boardrooms of Silicon Valley and the actual interests of the public. The first barrier is physical. To enter the metaverse, a user must strap a heavy, light-emitting screen directly to their face. For many, the experience triggers an immediate biological rejection. While the visual cortex perceives virtual movement, the inner ear registers that the body is stationary. This sensory conflict creates a state of physiological turbulence. Users report sudden onset vertigo, nausea, and a lingering sense of disorientation after short sessions. If a user manages to ignore the physical discomfort, they encounter a software limitation. Despite billions in development, the platform famously struggled to render human legs. Avatars were presented as floating torsos, bobbing through the air. This technical failure immediately broke any sense of immersion the platform was trying to cultivate. This lack of basic anatomy became a global punchline, defining public perception of the project as an expensive, incomplete prototype rather than a finished world. Meta's engineers were essentially trying to bypass millions of years of human physiology, and the resulting product proved that users were not willing to trade their physical comfort for a poorly rendered simulation. Corporate marketing presented platforms like Horizon Worlds and Decentraland as the new hubs of human civilization, digital cities where millions would eventually work and socialize. The data tells a different story. While projections pointed toward 1 billion users, actual daily active counts remained in the low hundreds. At its lowest point, Decentraland, a multi-billion-dollar project, recorded as few as 38 active users globally. This resulted in a landscape where Fortune 500 companies set up digital storefronts in empty, pixelated fields, waiting for customers that never arrived. Navigating these spaces feels less like visiting a city and more like walking through a shopping mall after the power has been cut. It is a quiet, desolate experience. A network requires social density. Without a community of real people, these worlds are not platforms. They are expensive, uninhabited databases. Why would some of the most successful companies on Earth commit so much capital to a concept that was so clearly failing to gain traction? For Meta, the pivot provided a timely rebrand. It allowed the company to shift the public conversation away from whistleblower leaks and a damaging press cycle toward a vague, futuristic concept. This diagram shows the broader incentives at play. In the wider tech sector, the metaverse push was often a vehicle for crypto speculation, designed to create a market for artificial real estate and digital scarcity. There was an underlying assumption in Silicon Valley that human behavior could be manufactured through sheer marketing force and capital. Executives appeared convinced that people would willingly abandon physical reality for a life spent in a cartoon space station, provided the branding was persistent enough. After burning through more than $80 billion, the final result is a product that most of the world has already forgotten. Ultimately, billionaire capital cannot force human beings to prefer a lonely, digital void over authentic connection. The metaverse remains a monument to corporate hubris and a very expensive delusion.